In this session, we are going to talk about an important concept in Salesforce Flow. It's called HTTP callouts. So, when before this feature was introduced, whenever there is a need to make a call to external APIs from Salesforce, we can do that using Apex coding. So we need to write some custom code so that we can able to make a call out from Salesforce to fetch some data. But now with this feature of HTTP callouts, it is quite easy for an administrator or a flow developer or a consultant, right? Can make an API call out without writing a single line of code. So let's see how we can able to implement that using a business scenario. So this is the business scenario in front of us now. So as a system administrator, you have been asked to configure the system to show the current exchange, rate on the account record page. So this is a quite common scenario. Okay, so we wanted to make use of an API. We want to make a call out to an API, so exchange rate API, so that it will give me the for the base currency, it will give me all the current exchange rates in live. So certainly this is important for the account owners, isn't it, to make to make any decision in terms of deals, in terms of order purchases, and financial transactions, isn't it? So this is what we're going to implement, in our scenario today. So again, as a system administrator, we're going to do it without writing a single line of code. So let's see how we can able to do it. Yeah. So there are certain steps that we need to follow to get this implementation done. We'll just go each step one at a time, and then we'll implement the same. So finally, once the implementation is completed, this is how it will look like. You will just start seeing the exchange rate, something like this. Yeah. So for that purpose, what is it really needed for me? So I need an API key. Okay, or basically I need an API first. Yeah. So I'm gonna use, there are a lot of APIs out there that will give you the live exchange rate. Okay. So the one that I'm gonna use this time is this exchange rate api.com. So I think we can use the other one as well. Let me just cross check. Yes, I think we can certainly use this. There are a lot of APIs out there, but this one comes really handy because there is a free version available, so you can make use of that to test and then see how this API integration works. And if you really want to implement this in our production or grade, you can equal to get a paid version. Okay, but for the training and learning purpose, this is sufficient, more than sufficient. So exchange rate-api.com, all you need to do is you need to just sign in with a email address and password. Okay, so you can use any email address and password, just sign in, and then once you are done, you will get a you will get a API key. So let me just wait for the API. Yeah, so you can just see this, right? This is my dashboard. I have my API key right here. Okay, so this is the sample. This is the API, the endpoint that I need to make a call out to. So once I hit this URL, I get, keeping base currency as USD, I get all the exchange rate, all the exchange rate for right here. Okay, so the response that I get. So what we can do is we can just use this and then see how to use the Salesforce flow to make a call out to this API, and then bring back, if not all the currencies, at least two or three currencies, let's bring it back and then see how we can able to show it on the screen. Yeah, so this is the first thing that you need. Yeah, and the sample response is nothing but this is sample response. Yeah, so let's get started. Yeah, what is the first thing that I need to do? So these are the steps. Okay, we'll just go one by one. First I'll go to the org. Okay, the very first thing I need to do is I need to go and then create a named credential and external credential. Why is it needed? Right, when we deal with the API integration, right? Very simple to understand this external credentials and named credential concept, right? For a moment, let's think of this. Yeah, so you are working for an organization, so you wanted to get into your office, isn't it? So think of you as a named credential, right? So you wanted to get into your office, so just like how you wanted to access an external API, right? External API URL, so you wanted to get into this office, right? So but if you go to the security desk and then say that I work for this office, right? They won't let you in. Instead, if you carry your access card, right? That is what we call external credential. So your access card contains all the information about you, right? Your employee ID, your first name, last name, the development center, to the building to which you have access to, all such things, right? Everything is encrypted and stored safely, correct? So this external credential or this access card is going to let you to access your office, isn't it? So just like that, whenever you want to make a call out to an external API, Salesforce says that use this external unnamed credential together and then keep all your secrets safe, especially the URL to which you want to make a call out to. And how do you authenticate yourself to that URL? Just like how you use access card to gain access to your office, right? How do you authenticate yourself to this API? So all these configurations are going to happen in this external credential and named credential together. And this is what we're going to do, use it back in our flow. So which means imagine that there are two steps. One is getting your API URL, API authentication setup done. Then in the flow, you can just simply focus on your automation instead of keeping all your URL and the authentication implementations, right, inside the flow. So keep it outside. So that's as simple as that. Okay. So let's go back and let's first create an external credential. Okay. This is where we'll configure the API authentication. Okay. So in our case, if I go to external credential, in our case, I'll click on new. Okay, I'm gonna just say that this is an external credential. Give a label, EC Exchange Rate API. Okay, and I need to give the API name for this external credential. So I cannot use any special characters or space. So I'll just go with this one. Yeah, and the authentication protocol, Salesforce supports multiple authentication protocol, OAuth, JWT, etc. And this one, I think we can go with this custom because we just need an API key, right? If you could recollect, all we need is an API key in the URL. That's all it is. You can able to, access this exchange rate. Like, let's click on save. Perfect. What is the step two? Step two, we have to create, something called the external credentials principal. So this is needed, for as an administrator, this is needed for you to enable access to users, either through permission set or through profiles. Okay, who can make a call out from Salesforce. Okay, so this is how, as an administrator, you can control who can make callouts from Salesforce. Okay, so that's where this principle come into the play. So let me click one for now, and I'll just show you how you can able to use that later. Okay, so I'll just say exchange rate principle. Yeah, so let's click on save. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So that's it, as simple as that. Once external credentials are completed, right, are created, right? Let's go back to the name credential. Let's create a new named credential. Okay. So that's the next step. Click on new. Just say named credential NC. I'll give the same name and with no spaces. Okay. And this is where you configure the URL. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this URL. Okay. I'll just go until this. Okay, until this. So now my API key is safe and secure in the credentials, right? Outside of the flow, it's safe and secure. Yeah. And once when you create a named credential, you have to map the external credential as well, because external credential is the one that holds information about how you authenticate yourself to the API, isn't it? So AP, external credential mapping is also done. I'm going to leave all these things, for now, as a default. Okay, we'll do a separate video where we can just explore other options as well. But for now, let's leave it as is. Okay, yeah. Let's click on save. So cool. So what did we do so far? So we created an external credential. We did create a external credentials principal. We did create a named credential. We mapped the external credential in the named credential, right? All these things we completed. And as I said before, you can use permission set or profile, okay, to enable API callout access for users. Of course, if you use it at a profile level, any user having that profile can able to make a callout, can able to make a call out from Salesforce, right? So this time I'm going to use permissions. Okay. So I can control exactly which user or set of users can able to, make a call out from Salesforce. I'll go to permission set and I'm going to click on new. Let it load first. Yeah. And I'm going to give a name. I'll just say access to access to exchange rate API. Yeah. So I'll just click on save once the permission set is created. Yeah. Yes. Let's look for this category, external credential principal access. So let me click on this. Okay. So the previous step, we did create external credential and named credential, right? So what I can do is I can just go here and then click on edit, and it will show me the external credential principal that I created. Yeah. So now you can just see how the permission set and the credentials, right? Both are linked, right? Yeah. So this is cool. Save. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the user. Okay. And yes, I'm going to go to my login. Okay. Or my user record. Yeah. And then I'm gonna look for the permission set. Okay. And I'm gonna add this newly created permission set that enables me to make a call out from Salesforce to an external API. So I'll click on edit assignments, and then I'm gonna just have this added to my permission set. That's it. Okay. So now, so far, we did not even start working in the flow, right? We just completed stuff that are steps that we need to do outside of the flow, correct? Yeah. So that's it. We managed to ensure that our API URL and the credentials that we use to make, to authenticate ourselves to the URL, everything is safe and secure now, right? So now let's move forward. What is the next step? Yeah. So the next step, we are going to create the flow. Let's do that. Yeah. So I'll go to the flow, and I'll click on new flow. Yeah. So this time I'm going to create a screen flow because we wanted to put that exchange rate on the record page, isn't it? So let's create the screen flow now. I'll choose screen flow and then click on create. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to first have a screen. Okay. I'll just say this is the exchange rate screen. Okay. Exchange rate, and then I'll just probably bring a display text. Okay, I'll just say this is output as the name, and I'll just say to be implemented. Okay, because before we show this the screen, right, we wanted to make a call out to this external URL, isn't it? And then have the response collected, then show the response back in the screen. So I'll click on done. Okay, so first I'll just save this as well. Exchange rate. Okay, click on save. All right. So what is the next thing that I'm going to do? Yeah. So I'm going to click on this plus sign. Okay. I'm going to add an action. Okay. And this is where Salesforce has introduced a separate button that helps me to create this call out. Yeah. So you can just see this right under the type. You have this create HTTP call out. Let's choose this one. Yeah. So let's click on create. All right. So the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an external service. Okay. So basically what happens is, right, the Salesforce flow will show you some screens that where you'll just create external service. You will create invocable methods, all these things. Okay. But behind the scenes, whenever you complete this configuration through this front end, right, Salesforce behind the scenes will create all the necessary configurations needed to make a call out from Salesforce. That includes creating an external service, that includes creating an invocable method, etc., etc. Let's see that. Okay, I'm going to give a name to my external service. I'll just say this is exchange rate external service. Okay, so I'll map this named credential which we just created, right, outside of the flow, correct? And now you can just see how flow can make use of this particular URL, right? Yeah. So let's click on next. And the second thing is I'm going to create an invocable action. Okay, I'll just say exchange rate invocable action. Okay, perfect. So now we have to decide the method, the HTTP method. So what are we actually doing? We wanted to give a currency, the base currency, right? USD or INR or anything for that matter, right? So given a base currency. Okay, I need the API to get me the response, correct? Yeah. So basically it's a get. So I just I'm gonna read the exchange rate. That's all I'm gonna do it. Yeah. So if that is the case, I'll choose the HTTP method as get. Okay, that's it. So once this is done, and we can just set the URL path. I'm gonna make it dynamic. Okay, because uh, I have this API key, fine. So what I'm going to do is I'll just say slash. Okay, I'm going to say that I will send the base currency. It could be anything, USD, INR, AUD, whatever it is. So how do you send a dynamic? How do you send a dynamic value, for which you need to create a variable? Okay, and the dynamic variable has to be wrapped inside the curly brace, number one, and I'll give any name to the variable. I'll just say base currency. Okay, so this is the URL. But the moment you tab out, okay, Salesforce Flow will ask you, okay, you're going to send me some value dynamically, some data dynamically. What is the type of the value? I'm going to say it is a simple string or a text. Okay, yeah. So enter or send, or I'll just simply say placeholder. Yeah, placeholder for currency code. Yeah, that's the URL path. Yeah, good. So no query parameters in this case, at least in this case for me. I'll just leave it as is. I'm gonna click on next and then see what happens. Okay. So now this is where I can, um, enter my response, sample response. Okay. So I'm going to click on the response. There is a reason why this is needed. This example response is needed. Okay. So in the latest version, or in the, if you're using Winter 24 release product version, right, you will just see an option right here. Okay, where you can provide a sample response as well. Okay, but the UI may be a little different, but it is important for you to uh, you know it is important for you to just provide the example response. Sorry, or you can connect to that API endpoint and then retrieve the response. This is also fine. Okay, so I'll go with this one. Use example response and then see what happens. Let's click on next. Okay, now I'll just say this is exchange. Maybe I'll give the description exchange rate sample response. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll just go to the exchange, and then in the response I'll copy the entire response, put it right here. Okay. And I don't need everything. I just have only three. Okay. Yeah. So I can just have anything. Let's say INR. I'll just say AUD, and let's say AED as well. Yeah, just three should be fine for now. All right. Is there anything wrong with this one? Duplicate key. Oh, okay. I think it's duplicate key. I'll say AUD. Yeah. So let's click on review. Okay. What actually happens is, right, Salesforce will use this JSON response, and then it will automatically try to create a class for you. Okay. Yeah. So I'll just duplicate this and then show you that as well. So if you go to this Apex classes, okay, Apex classes. So Salesforce will, after the step, after we complete the steps, right? Salesforce will create a class file, okay, with all these keys as properties, okay, and that's the reason Salesforce is asking you to, to give a sample response, so that it helps Salesforce to create, dynamic classes for you. Okay, so you will find those classes under the Apex class. Not now, I'm not completed the step, but you will start finding this right here. So before I hit the save button, you can just ensure that there is no dynamic classes created so far, right? Let's wait for this to create. Okay, I'm gonna click on save and then see what happens. So I should wait for the external service, and the call out actions were created. Yeah, perfect. So this is done. And before I move forward, I'll just go to this Apex classes. Let's refresh this. Also, we'll go to the external service and then refresh this. Okay. So this is what I was just referring to. Okay, whatever you configure right in the front end using this flow screens, right, flow configuration screens, you will find that Salesforce automatically, right, doing the job for you. As in, it is creating the Apex class to hold that JSON structure, the values, and also it creates the external service that enables you to make a call out to the external API. So all these things are automatically created for you. Okay, so that's the beauty of no code solution, isn't it? So now let's say call exchange rate. So we just are are about to complete our implementation. Yeah, but the last one is, as I said, we need to send this base currency, isn't it? We need to send the base currency dynamically. What I can do is I can just simply say USD, write a hard code. Okay, or what I gonna do is I can just create a resource. Okay, I can just have this variable v underscore in v underscore um, base currency code. Okay, I'll hard code this right here. Okay, yeah. So the point is it is now possible for me to dynamically send the value. Okay. Sometimes you wanted to read this base code from the from a custom object, from an object, and then send this base code. Okay. You can do that as well. Okay. But the thing that to remember is the parameters that you wanted to send dynamically, ensure that it is wrapped in the curly brace so that when the URL path is set right, you can able to dynamically send the value. Okay, so this is cool. Okay, I'm gonna click on done. Our job is done actually. Let's click on save. Okay, let's click on save. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to debug and then see whether this works or not before we activate this. So let's click on debug. All right, now it's supposed to make a call to the API. Let's see what happens. Let's click on run. Okay, it will take perfect. I see no error, but I think there is some output I'm seeing. So you can just see this, right? There is this 2xx, that's fine. It says that uh, it says exchange rate external service invocable action if underscore out underscore 2xx, isn't it? And there is this JSON response came out. I'll just copy that, and what I'll do is I'll just open that in JSON lint. Okay, so we'll just validate. We'll just align this, and then we'll just see what is the output that we have just received. Okay, this is the output that we received, and this is exactly what we wanted to see, right? So given that USD as a base currency, I see the INR, I see the AUD, I see AED exchange rates as well, right? Perfectly works now, isn't it? Yeah. So now I need to think and then see how I can read response from this, isn't it? That is very important, correct? And this is where Salesforce is helping you with these Apex dynamic Apex classes created. Okay, to understand this, let's go back and then see. Okay, we did all these things, right? We created invocable method, we provided the sample response, we provided the action name, right? And now remember the sample response that we had given. So using that sample response, Salesforce created three Apex classes for you. Yeah, the first class, this one, the top one, right, will hold the entire response. Okay, this one. You can just see this. The entire response is um, you can able to use this Apex class to store this entire response that has been received. Okay, and if you want to store only the conversation rates, right? Because this itself is an object, right? Inside this JSON, this itself is an object. So to store this, Salesforce has created another. You can just see this, right? To store this, Salesforce has created another, Apex class for you. Okay. So this is how Salesforce is helping us. So now what I can do is I can, in fact, use this particular Apex class, okay, to to extract the output. Okay, to cross check that, if you go back to the debug logs, right, you can just see this. So this is the exact the Apex, the dynamically created Apex class name that you are seeing right here. The second one I'm talking about, this one, underscore out underscore 2xx, right? So dynamic Apex classes will can help me to to extract the JSON response. Let's see how it can be done. Yeah, so let's go back now. Okay, and I'm gonna simply go to the screen. Okay, and I'll just remove this. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to say 1 USD equal to. Okay, I want to read this. I want to read this INR, right? sorry, I want to read this INR, isn't it? Yeah. All right. So what I'll do is I'll just start from this. Okay. So there is already an Apex dynamic, Apex class. I'll start from this. Okay. I'll go here, and if I click on this resource picker, okay, so you have this action that made a call, call to the API, right? So click on that. You can just see this 2xx, right? Click on this. You can find this conversion rate. Click on it. You will just see all the properties. Yeah. Click on INR. That's it. Okay, and this will carry the INR data. Yeah. So one USD. Then I'll just say one USD in equal to. So I'll do the same. Go here from the output, go to underscore 2xx, go to that inner object and get this AED. Okay, AED. So I'll make it as, I'll just bold this one. Similarly, 1 USD equal to, I'll just go to the resource picker again, go to the output 2xx conversion rates, and then AUD. Yeah, AUD. So let's show this, and then let's add a nice image, okay, to make it a little appealing. So we'll go on the top, and then let's click on this image. It will open up my folder, and then I'm just trying to map the PNG file that I had this created already. Okay, I'm gonna just make little more alignment changes, make it justified, and lastly I'm gonna ensure that this footer is hidden. Okay, done. Done. Perfect, right? So let's save this. Let's activate. Okay. Yes. So now let's go back to our account record page. Let's go and then pick up one of the accounts, and then let's go to the settings. Let's go to edit. I'm gonna bring that flow onto the page. So let's do that very quickly. So I'll choose flow. Let's drag and then drop flow right onto the record page. Is it done? Drag and then drop. Yes. So let's map the new flow that we created. Yeah, the name of the flow is exchange rate, right? Let's click on exchange rate. That's it. We are done. The first time I think I'm making change in this one. I think it's asking me to activate. So let's click on activate, and then let's make it our default. I'll say assign as org default. Next, save. That is it. Let's click on save. Let's go back. Okay. Now let's wait for the screen to load. Yeah, I think the exchange rate is still loading, right? Perfect. Where is this image? I think it will appear. Yes. You can now see this, right? This is the current exchange rate. Now I can go to um, any record page, or let's say Puja Digital World, right? You can just see the exchange rate appearing, isn't it? So now what we did is we successfully managed to make a call out from Salesforce, right, to a third-party API without writing a single line of code, correct? Writing a single line of code. So this is how easy for you to make a call out from Salesforce, right? So what is more important? Yes, certain key takeaways, right? Number one, it is important that you need to configure this named credentials and external credentials, right? So that we can keep the API URL, the authentication for the API, all such configurations outside of the flow. This is important, right? Then permission set is needed so that we can control which user can able to make a call out, can able to make a call out from Salesforce, right? So all such things needs to be defined first, then come back to Salesforce flow, and then start using HTTP callout, right? Good. And we know that automatically behind the scenes, a lot of things happen. Salesforce flow will automatically create an external service. It will automatically create dynamic Apex classes, correct? To hold this JSON data. All such things happen behind the scenes, right? So with that, we managed to make a call out from Salesforce, and then we manage to see or show the live exchange rate right on the record page.